I never believed in ghosts, not until a dead man asked me to marry him. The strange part wasn't that he came to my house. The strange part wasn't that he spoke, laughed, and walked around the village like everyone else. The strange part was what I discovered 3 weeks before our wedding. The man I was planning to marry had been dead for 7 years. And that wasn't even the most terrifying part. Every night at exactly midnight, a woman I couldn't see would stand outside my window and cry. The same heartbreaking cry, night after night. Then one evening, she finally spoke. And the words she said changed everything. Give him back. At first, I thought she was talking to someone else. I was wrong. She was talking to my mother. And hidden inside my mother's past was a secret so dark, so painful, that it had remained buried for more than 20 years. A secret connected to a dead bridegroom, a broken promise, and a love story that refused to stay buried. My name is Chika, and this is the true story of the midnight cry that haunted our village. The old man continued staring at me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The air suddenly felt heavy. I forced a smile. Sir, is everything all right?
Sir?
The man swallowed hard. Why are you looking for Emeka? His voice sounded strange, almost shaky. I became confused because we are getting married. The words had barely left my mouth when the old man grabbed the doorframe. His eyes widened. What did you say? We are getting married. The man looked as if he had seen a ghost. His breathing became uneven. I felt a knot forming in my stomach. Something was terribly wrong. The old man slowly stepped outside and closed the door behind him. Then he lowered his voice. My daughter, who exactly are you talking about? I laughed nervously. Emeka, tall, dark, always wears a white shirt or black trousers. He visits me every week. The old man's eyes filled with tears, real tears. My smile disappeared. Fear began creeping into my chest. Sir? The old man shook his head slowly. No. What do you mean no? His lips trembled. No. No. I became impatient. Please tell me what is happening. The old man looked around as if he wanted to be sure nobody could hear us. Then he pointed toward a wooden bench beneath a tree. Sit down. My heart was racing. I sat. The old man remained standing. For several moments, he seemed unable to speak. Finally, he looked directly at me. My daughter, my son cannot marry you. I frowned. Why not? The old man's voice broke. Because my son died 7 years ago. Everything around me seemed to stop. The birds, the wind, even the sounds from distant farms. For a few seconds, I thought I had heard him wrongly. Died? The old man nodded. My mouth became dry. No. He died. That's impossible. His eyes filled with fresh tears. It is the truth. I stood up immediately. No. The word came out almost as a whisper. No. The old man slowly pointed toward the open doorway. Inside the sitting room, hanging on the wall, was a framed photograph. I looked. My blood turned cold. The photograph showed Emeka, the same face, the same smile, the same man. There was no mistake. I moved closer. My hands began shaking. Below the photograph was a date, a death date, 7 years earlier. I felt dizzy. My legs became weak. This is not impossible. The old man lowered his head.
My son died in a motorcycle accident on the road to Owerri. I stared at the picture. Every memory flooded back. The conversations, the visits, the laughter, the marriage proposal, everything. How could a dead man do those things? I suddenly remembered the midnight crying, the strange warnings, the frightened children, the growling dog. A wave of fear crashed over me. I backed away from the photograph. No. The old man stepped closer. My daughter, tell me the truth. His voice was trembling. When exactly did you start seeing him? I could barely speak. About 3 months ago. The old man's face turned pale. 3 months ago. He sat down heavily on a chair. For several moments, neither of us spoke. Then, something strange happened. The old man looked at me carefully, very carefully, as if he was studying my face. Then he asked a question that made no sense. What is your mother's name?
Her name is Ngozi.
I frowned. Her name is Ngozi. The old man's expression changed instantly. Shock, pure shock. He slowly stood up. Ngozi? Yes. His eyes became distant, as if he had suddenly remembered something from long ago. Then he whispered a name, a different name. Could it be the same Ngozi? What do you mean? The old man sat back down. His hands were shaking now. My daughter, many years ago, before my son was born, there was another Emeka in this village. I listened silently. He was my elder brother. A chill moved down my spine. The old man continued. He was deeply in love with a young woman named Ngozi. My heart nearly stopped. My mother's name. The old man noticed my reaction. You know her. It wasn't a question. I nodded slowly. The old man's expression changed to sad. Everyone believed they would get married. My stomach tightened. But something happened. The old man looked away. The girl's family rejected him. My chest felt heavy. They wanted a richer husband. Suddenly, I could barely breathe. My mother's strange behavior began making sense. The old man continued speaking. My brother was heartbroken. He paused. Very heartbroken. What happened to him? I asked quietly. The old man closed his eyes. He disappeared. A silence followed. When they found him, he was dead. I felt cold all over. The old man opened his eyes. People talked about it for years. I could hardly speak. And the woman? The old man looked directly at me. She married another man. My father. The realization hit me like a stone. I suddenly understood why my mother had been terrified. Why she never wanted me near Emeka. Why she refused to answer my questions. Because somehow, this entire nightmare was connected to her. I left the compound shortly afterward. The walk home felt endless. The sun was beginning to set. Shadows stretched across the road. Every sound made me jump. Every movement frightened me. By the time I reached our compound, my mind was in complete chaos. My mother was waiting outside. The moment she saw my face, she knew. She knew where I had been. She knew what I had learned. The basket she was carrying slipped from her hands. Cassava scattered across the ground. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. For several seconds, we simply stared at each other. Then I asked the question. The question she had been avoiding for months. Who was Emeka? My mother's face lost all color. The silence that followed felt endless. Then tears filled her eyes. Real tears. Painful tears. Not the kind someone cries because they are sad. The kind someone cries because they have been carrying a burden for too long. She slowly sat down. And for the first time in my life, I saw guilt written across her face. Deep guilt. The kind that never truly leaves. "Come inside," she whispered. I followed her. The room felt unusually dark. Outside, the sun was disappearing. Inside, only silence remained. My mother sat on the edge of her bed. For several moments, she stared at the floor. Then she began speaking. "When I was young, I loved someone. I remained silent. He was kind. Tears rolled down her cheeks. He was honest. More tears followed. And I wanted to marry him. I already knew the answer, but I asked anyway. Was his name Emeka?" My mother nodded. A heavy silence filled the room. "He wanted to spend the rest of his life with me." Her voice broke. And I wanted the same. I listened quietly. "But your grandfather refused." She wiped her eyes. "He said Emeka was poor." The room became silent again. "He wanted a richer husband for me." My mother looked away. I fought him. Another tear rolled down her cheek. I begged him. She shook her head. But he refused. I felt my heart tightening. What happened then? My mother's shoulders trembled. "He arranged my marriage to your father." She looked at me. I obeyed.
The guilt in her eyes was overwhelming. "And Emeka?" My mother covered her face. For several seconds, she could not speak. When she finally did, her voice was barely a whisper. "He died before my wedding." The room fell silent. Outside, darkness was settling over the village. Inside, old wounds were reopening. But deep down, I knew the story was not finished. Not yet. Because one question remained. Why had the midnight crying started now? Why had a dead man returned after all these years? And what exactly did the words, "give him back," mean? That night, I would finally get another piece of the answer, and it would be more terrifying than anything I had imagined.